May profits be upon you. How you doing? We're going to take a look at the U.S. stock markets. All right. We're talking about the Dow. We're talking about the S&P. We're talking about the NASDAQ. All right. Those three indices. All right. Those three index C's. All right. This one goes out to my peoples, Leslie. And I want you to know that I think there's potential for some really good trades here. All right, let's look at the S&P first. All right, this is going to go pretty quick because they all look very similar. They all have similar setups. All right, what I want you to see, which is clear on the daily charts, is from this high, lower low, lower high, lower low, aha, swing high, and then we break that low. All right, we're still bearish. We have this low and that lower high. Now, it's this lower high here that I really like. Why? Because we had a break of market structure here. This pullback was pretty significant, and we turned bullish here, in my opinion. All right, we came past the breakout point here. All right, we came past that lower high. All right, it's a lower high because it created a lower low, but this is just a pullback, right? And it's responding to this zone of supply. Okay, now, why do I like it so much? Because look at the way price left this zone. It flushed, man. It flushed. All right, we rallied, we based, and then we dropped. That is supply and demand speak. All right, when price leaves an area like this in such an inefficient manner where there is no pullbacks, all right, it's just all sells here. There's no balance. It's imbalance. And what does price do? It always seeks out that imbalance to rebalance it. This is a fair value gap, and price has already filled it to the point of the supply, to the origin of the impulse. All right, this is the correction. Yes, we have internal breaks of structure, internal IBOS. We have internal breaks of structure to the upside. Great. We know this is a correction. And you just just lay and wait for the lower high so you can look for that lower low to follow. All right. In a downtrend, you're looking for a lower low, a lower high, a lower low, a lower high, a lower low. Got it? Expectational order flow. This is what we're talking about. Okay. On every indice, this is the S&P. This is the NASDAQ on the daily. Same situation, right? Break structure, pull back, we break structure. We have an internal high here. We have a pullback, but it's broken. Just like on the S&P, all right? It comes up responding to this daily zone of supply and then drops. Now, what's the difference between the S&P and this one? It should be quite obvious. Price has already broken the high of this lovely order block that I made the zone of supply that I made a big fuss about. Excuse me, with the S&P. We've broken it. We've gone up. We've gone up into the lightly mitigated zone of supply here that this one responded to. So price uses this as inducement, uses this high as inducement, sweeps the high, and now we're in the originating bearish order block. Okay, and we're at the midpoint. Aha, I always talk about the midpoint, right? That's where all the real stuff happens. When price starts closing past the midpoint, then you know that most of the sell orders are gone. Okay, when it starts closing, it looks like it's going to violate the chances of violating this supply zone is pretty high. And keep in mind, there is liquidity here, relative equal highs here. All right, just something to keep in mind, because that gives a reason for that'll draw a price up to it, maybe to mitigate this unmitigated zone up here. Okay, those are things I want you to keep in mind. This, all right, the fact that this was used as inducement for the NASDAQ. Do we see the same thing with the Dow? Let's check a look. This is the Dow, all right? We see that we have the break of structure to the downside. We see that we have this lower low, we have the pullback, we have a lower low made, and then we break that pullback high. We base, have a beautiful drop, and price is rebalancing all of this imbalanced, inefficient price movement, just like the S&P. All right, and just like the S&P, this supply has held, and this is where I'm expecting price to round over. Okay, you got me? Are we up to speed? The only difference is this the NASDAQ. The NASDAQ kind of has a bit of a divergence, if you will. All right. Now, we're going to watch this. We're going to watch it intensely. All right. And what I want you to see is what you're going to see on all of them, because they're all going to roll over. That, as far as my thinking is, they're all going to roll over around the same time. All right. You see this down here, right? Wednesday CPI data. All right. This is the action day. This is the day that the US dollar may turn really strong, may eat spinach just like Popeye and get real strong. What happens is, up until that point, we may see the indices see a little risk on. We may see price kind of travel up a little bit. Maybe it comes down. Maybe it comes down to sweep this, right? And then we see it come back up to catch that supply and then come down, giving us a head and shoulders. That would be nice. All right. I'm looking for price to move up Monday through Wednesday, maybe sideways. Maybe we might get something like this here. But come Wednesday, I'm looking for this to start to turn over. And I'm looking for my setup. A high, a pullback, a higher high, a break of that pullback low, and a return to impulse, which would probably be something right here. So we can take a high probability trade to the downside. I'm looking for that on every indice. Wednesday is when I'm looking to make that action move. Okay. I'd like to see this broken. I want to see a leg break that. All right. If it comes down here, that's fine too. But I need to see a break of market structure, one that demonstrates that price wants to go lower. And I'll wait for price to come back up to the supply that was responsible for this break and take a high probability trade to the downside. That is the setup on NASDAQ. That is the setup on S&P. Got it? Just like that. And that is the setup on the Dow, the US 30. I want to see that. I got to see it. I got to see that break to the downside. I need to see that break demonstrated. And then a pullback would give me the safest entry possible, a confirmation entry, and I'll take it on down. That's it. It's that simple. All right. I gave you targets and everything. All right. I'm looking for price to come and sweep all of this sell side liquidity, maybe down to here. This is a this will make you weak, this move on one of the indices, especially the Dow. That'll make you weak if we can make it happen. All right. I've refined the zone of supply to a 4-hour supply inside of this weekly and daily demand supply zone. Sorry. All right. And that's where we're getting that response here now. Now, in the case, let me tell you this. I should say this. In the case that price decides to go higher and take this buy side liquidity, all right, then we're going to have to adjust. We're going to have to adjust because then I'll be looking here. I'm thinking if it breaks this high, it's going to take that high out, and we're going to go to an unmitigated zone. All right, this area right here, I think is going to be our where price may turn around, okay, and start coming on down. All right, look for the same area on the S&P. I mean the NASDAQ. Sorry, we're going to take that liquidity and come up here. All right, this will be where I would look first because this is an unmitigated zone of supply. Okay. Same thing on which one that I didn't do? S&P. If it breaks these highs, for this buy side liquidity, it wants to sweep those highs. I'm thinking it's going to sweep those highs as well. That's just a sitting pool of liquidity, and I believe that will probably be coming up some. Who did that? All right, coming up here, somewhere in this area. Then price might turn around. We'll see. We'll see. You know, but the likelihood of that happening, you know, the indices could do anything, and the news, if that CPI data isn't hot, that could put the markets in the risk on and send things shooting up and the US dollar shooting down. I'm thinking the opposite is going to happen, though. Not that it's going to just fire up, but I believe that the US dollar will strengthen. And as the US dollar strengthens, you know, the opposite will be true for the indices. And I'm looking to catch that. Now, it could go all the way, it could keep going. It could keep going past these lows, but this would be my TP. All right. This would be my TP, at least one of them, and then I can trail or leave a runner as it continues down. But I think there's a good chance price may turn around here because there was a sweep already here, right? And by this push, so I'm thinking that we might get a bounce here. Anyway, we'll see. That's my ideas for the U.S. stock markets. I hope you like them. Let me have some feedback because I appreciate your opinions. Let me know, what are you thinking? Do you think that you're just going to see a bullish week next week? Some people are. Some people are. All right. I'm not one of those. I'm looking at this zone. And for those that have been following me, know that I've been looking at this zone since last week. All right. Since last week, waiting for price to come up and come up here and give me a high probability trade that I can hold on to the downside. All right. And I've been scalping and day trading the indices on up from here, which is not bad, not a bad thing to do, but it's a counter trend trade because this is a bearish market. And when you're doing counter trend, you can't think you're just going to take it all the way up to the top there. I don't think that way because price could turn at a dime. All right. This is a corrective move here. All right. That correction could have stopped here and then started down again, going back and resuming the trend. You understand? Counter trend, you gotta play it a little differently. You gotta play it shorter. Anyway, like and subscribe if you dig what I'm doing here. Give me a like, hit that like button if you would, please, and then subscribe and make sure you get my get the notifications for updates. All right, by hitting that bell icon. All right. I'm going to leave my last video on your screen. The last video I just did, I think it was about gold. All right, gold, that's a hot one. That is a hot one. I think I got some challenge passes coming up next week. I got some challenge passes. All right, and these are trade setups you want to take. All right, get informed. All right, and leave me some feedback because I want to hear from you. I'll talk to you later. Thank you for watching.